Hey everybody, this is Wickle 2000. Guess what? I have excellent news I want to tell you all. Well, I got a new cord for that camera that I could use to transfer things off of the camera into the computer. And you know what that means? That means that SML Fan Made will be back up on the schedule anytime soon. So, SML Fan Made will. And speaking of SML Fan Made, because of the fact Caloric Leader 9 can't do it anymore, due to his busy schedule, this means SML Fan Made is going to have some changes. SML Fan Made is going to be having new episodes every weekday and stuff like that. So after months of not doing it, I'm finally back on SML Fan Made, which will start tomorrow, actually. Tomorrow, and then all of next week. Oh, Ethan Olsen. And, as a special treat, I'm going to do a little Q&A stream today, so it's been a while since we've last done them, so now, if any of you guys have an idea for a collection video that I'm going to be doing of certain titles, please let me know down in the comments below. Ooh, and I got to see Riot and the Last Dragon yesterday, and we were really far away from other people. We were, because I was in the front row, and the rest of those people were in the back, so anyone has any questions, please let me know. I have around 45 Arthur titles on DVD. 45 of them! And 39 of them, and 38 of them are from Sony Wonder. Oh, really? Which titles of Arthur do you have? Are they all from Sony Wonder, or are they PBS distribution DVDs? Well, you have Arthur's Music Jamboree, I have the Sony Wonder release of Arthur's Music Medley. I also have the Good Sport PBS release as well, along with the Sony Wonder release. You have Arthur's Music Jamboree, the Good Sport, and Celebrates Community. That's like the newest Arthur DVD release out there. And, what? What shows did you watch when you were very young? I know I've watched a lot of PBS back in 2003. And, wow, you've watched Arthur and stuff. I also watched Arthur back in 2003. I also watched Clifford and Dragon Tales and JG the Jet Plane and Teletubbies and Zaboomafoo and Sagwa and Caillou. And Barney I also watched. All right. And, and do you want to know what the most common PBS Kids logos, what PBS Kids logos I saw from most common to rarest when I was watching PBS Kids in 2003? Yeah. I didn't really see Curious George in 2003 because it didn't really air until 2006. So, the most common PBS Kids logos that I saw in 2003, out of all of the original 6, I saw the first 2 ones from 1999 the most. I saw the 1999 PBS Kids logo with Dash, the boy, thinking on shows like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, Sesame Street, Clifford, Dragon Tales, Teletubbies, Booba, Sagwa the Chinese Siamese Cat, Caillou, and shows like that. Of course, the Dash logo with Dash thinking. has a close-up of Dash's eye at the beginning, and then the camera would zoom out to reveal that it is a boy named Dash, and he would point his finger in his head and scratch it like this. And then he'd go, doink! And then the circle would zoom out with the thought bubble with the words PBS appearing on it. And the color of the stripes would be pink and white. Yeah. I also have Alright. Alright. Not only do I have 45 Arthur DVD titles, I also have a good amount of Clifford titles as well. This is Doghouse Adventures, and this is Clifford's Big Halloween, Growing Up with Clifford, The New Baby on the Block, Doggy Detectives, and Everyone Loves Clifford and Good Friends, Good Times. But these are not all the titles of Clifford I own. I also have some more that I could show you as well. Those are the DVDs. And here are some more DVD titles that I own of Clifford. Clifford Tries His Best and Clifford's Schoolhouse. King Clifford and Be My Big Red Valentine. A Big Help. Clifford Saves the Day and Clifford's fluffiest friend Cleo, which was actually the very first Clifford release on DVD. I also have Playtime with Clifford, Happy Birthday Clifford, and Rock and Roll Clifford and Teen Clifford. Those are all the DVD titles I have. Now I'm going to show you some of the VHS titles. Oh, and there's one more DVD that I have as well. This is Look Out, Clifford and Big Fun in the Sun. Now we're going into the VHS titles. Okay, here are some of the VHS titles I have. The VHS version of Everyone Loves Clifford, the VHS version of Rock and Roll Clifford, the VHS version of Look Out, Clifford, the VHS version of King Clifford, the VHS version of Be My Big Red Valentine. There's a promotional VHS called Cleo's Fair Share. And there's the Canadian VHS release of Go T-Bone. But that's not all of the VHS releases of Clifford I have. I also have some more. And here are more of the VHS titles I have. I have some more VHS titles of Clifford I have are Clifford's Best Friends, Clifford's Fluffiest Friend Cleo, Clifford Saves the Day, Clifford tries his best. Clifford's schoolhouse. Here comes Clifford. Clifford's big Halloween. And the US VHS release of Go T-Bone. Those are all the Clifford titles that I own. Now, if anybody has any more questions, please feel free to ask away. My favorite Arthur episode has to be, I actually have a bunch of favorite Arthur episodes, mostly ones from seasons 1 through 8. I think my favorite season 1 episode has to be Arthur's birthday and Francine Frensky's Superstar. My favorite season 2 episode would have to be my favorite season 2 episode would have to be Arthur's TV 3 Week and Night Fright. And then my favorite season 3 episode would have to be Arthur's Treasure Hunt and The Return of the King. My favorite season 4 episode has to be The Blizzard and the Rat Who Came to Dinner. My favorite season 5 episode has to be Arthur and the Big Riddle and Double Dare. My favorite season 6 episode has to be The Boy with His Head in the Clouds and More. Of course, More is the episode where DW gets the allowance. My favorite season 7 episode has to be one of the full-length specials of season 7 called Elwood City Turns 100, where all the gang prepares to go to have a musical audition in honor of Elwood City celebrating its centennial. Of course, there's another Arthur special from season 7 that is a full-length special called April 9th, where Elwood City, the school, gets caught on fire, and they put the fire out, and everyone is surprised to hear about the fire. Binky especially gets terrified of hearing about those fires, and Buster is disappointed because he kind of missed out on that big event. And then my favorite season 8 episode has to be Desk Wars and Desperately Seeking Stanley. And there was another season 8 episode that was kind of hilarious. It was called Vomitrocious and Sue Ellen Chickens Out. I'd say my favorite 1999 PBS Kids logo. Well, my favorite one from 1999 has to be the Dot logo from 1999, where Dot runs up to the screen. But my favorite PBS Kids logos overall I like would be the Fishbowl logo, since the Fishbowl logo is the funniest PBS Kids logo in my opinion, and the Dash Transformation logo from 2000, where Dash transforms into a caveman, scuba diver, and robot. Of course, now I would like to tell you the Now I would like to tell you what shows I saw in 2003 with each of the original 6. Of course, like I said before, the most common PBS Kids logos that I saw in 2003 were the first 2 ones from 1999. I saw the 1999 Dash logo on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, Barney and Friends, Sesame Street, Clifford, Caillou, Teletubbies, Booba, Sagwa the Chinese Siamese Cat, and Caillou and other shows. And then I saw the 1999 Dot logo. I also saw the 1999 Dash logo on Dragon Tales as well. And then I also saw the 1999 Dot logo on Dragon Tales and Caillou and Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. And I also saw the 1999 Dot logo on Zaboomafoo and Teletubbies. And JG the Jet Plane I also saw the 1999 Dot logo on. Now, I saw the Dash Transformation logo. I saw the Dash Transformation logo on Arthur. Arthur was the only show that I actually saw with the Dash Transformation logo when I was watching PBS in 2003. And I saw the Dot Transformation logo when I was watching Arthur as well. And I also saw the Dot Transformation logo when I was watching Clifford as well. But strangely enough, when I was watching the Clifford episode, A Big Help in the Trouble with Kittens was the name of those episodes. They had the PBS Kids Dot Transformation logo with the audio from the PBS Kids Snow Globe logo for some strange reason. And then I saw the PBS Kids Fishbowl logo on Arthur. I saw the regular PBS Kids Fishbowl logo on Arthur. And I saw the prototype PBS Kids Fishbowl logo on Jakers, The Adventures of Piggly Winks. And then the only time I saw the PBS Kids Snow Globe logo in 2003 was when I was watching Sesame Street. Believe it or not, the Sesame Street episode I saw with the PBS Kids Snow Globe logo was an episode of Sesame Street from season 34 called episode 4038, where Big Bird writes a story. And it contained the Wild Animals episode of Animals World on there. Any other questions you would like to ask? It's snowing right now, so and I also saw the 1999 Dash logo on George Shrinks. That's another show. As a matter of fact, you know what? This is a Q&A. I'm actually going to show the Thomas titles right now. I'm going to have to get those flipper titles out of the way first before I do that, though. It's all right. Okay. Okay. E to DVD and VHS collector, SC to DVD and VHS collector, program breaker, 20K5. I got the Thomas titles all set up for you, so I figured I am going to show them all just for you. So, I'm actually going to do them in the order of the VHS releases, even though I have the DVD releases. So, here is the first one. This is Thomas Gets Tricked. It includes first ever Thomas episodes. It was originally released on VHS in 1990 by Strand VCI, and then it got reprinted in 1992 by Strand on Video, and then it got more VHS releases in 1995 by Video Treasures and Anchor Bay, and then here's Thomas Gets Tricked. And then the next one that comes after that is James Learns a Lesson, the Universal print. Trust Thomas. Yeah. Thomas Gets Tricked and James Learns a Lesson both contain the Ringo Starr American narration. Now we're getting into the George Carlin era, which Trust Thomas was the very first to do so. The late, great George Carlin, that is. Thomas Gets Bumped. This is in the slim case. This is a slim case edition of Thomas Gets Bumped, that is. Thomas, Percy, and the Dragon. This is the Lionsgate reprint from 2009. But the disc itself is the original Anchor Bay disc. Percy Takes the Plunge. This is, once again, a Lionsgate reprint from 2009, but it has the original Anchor Bay disc from 2008 inside. And then we have James Goes Buzz Buzz, once again a 2009 Lionsgate reprint. But the original Anchor Bay disc is inside. For some reason, when I popped the disc in, it showed the Starz Home Entertainment logo on there. But there are some copies of this that do contain the Anchor Bay logo at the beginning. This one has the Starz logo instead. And then Percy's Ghostly Trick. This is the last DVD release to contain the 1999 to 2007 artwork. And this is the original Anchor Bay DVD on there. And then Thomas in the Special Letter. This is... I don't have Rusty to the Rescue on DVD, but I have Thomas in the Special Letter, which I believe is the second release to contain Season 4 episodes, the first one being Rusty to the Rescue. Once again, the original Anchor Bay print. And then we have Thomas and His Friends Help Out, the 2003 DVD release of Thomas and His Friends Help Out, that is. Interestingly, the Hit Entertainment logo is on the case art, on the packaging, and on the disc art. But the actual disc contains the Ghislaine Entertainment logo on there, and the Grayson Wild Interactive Development logo is shown before it. And then we have Henry and the Elephant, which is the DVD version of Gallant Old Engine. This is a 2008 DVD, the original 2008 DVD, because they updated the Anchor Bay logo in 2008, where it had a different looking boat and a different background in that logo on there compared to the older one. And then I have Thomas and His Friends Get Along. I don't have Sing Along and Stories on DVD, but I'm showing you Thomas and His Friends Get Along next due to the fact that I don't have Sing Along and Stories on DVD. So, Thomas and His Friends Get Along. It was released on the same day as the DVD version of New Friends for Thomas. And then Thomas Comes to Breakfast, and DVD release. The 2006 DVD release of Thomas Comes to Breakfast, which was released on the same day as Thomas and the Really Brave Engines. And then the DVD of A Big Day for Thomas, and this is the 2009 Lionsgate reprint, but with the original Anchor Bay disc inside. That was the last of the George Carlin releases, with the exception of the Best of titles and 10 Years of Thomas. Alright. Now we get into the Alec Baldwin era. Cranky Bugs. The 2002, the original 2002 DVD of Cranky Bugs because of the Anchor Bay logo on there. And then Races, Rescues, and Runaways. The original 2002 DVD of Races, Rescues, and Runaways because of the Anchor Bay logo on that as well. And then 2005 Slim Case Edition DVD of 10 Years of Thomas. Which contains narration from the late, great George Carlin. And then we have Spills and Chills, the 2009 Lionsgate reprint. With the original 2002 disc inside. Some of those Thomas titles I have are reprints from Lionsgate that still contain the Anchor Bay logo on the actual disc. Alright, Make Someone Happy. This is also a 2009 Lionsgate reprint. But the original 2002 DVD is inside. And then we have Thomas's Christmas Wonderland. This is a really special edition because this comes with a CD sampler for Thomas's songs and roundhouse rhythms. For some reason, it only lists George Carlin as the narrator, but Alec Baldwin actually does narrate one episode on this release, which is Snow from Season 5. The DVD was released on the same day as Salty's Secret. Next up, I have Best of Percy. This is this has a surprise. This release of Best of Percy has Ringo Starr being the narrator again after 11 years. Or actually after 10 years, because Better Late Than Never was the last release to feature Ringo Starr as a narrator until this was released. speaking of Ringo Starr, a long time ago, my mom asked if we were going, if I would like to interview Ringo Starr at some point in the future when I had a radio show. But due to the fact that he was very busy and really couldn't go to KDNK or whatever radio station it was, Ringo Starr couldn't really be interviewed at the radio show that I went to. And it's the original 2002 DVD. And here is one of my copies of Best of Thomas. Here's this copy of Best of Thomas right here. And this is the original 2001 DVD release of Best of Thomas because it showed Thomas in that gold sun on the spine and the Anchor Bay logo on the back. It has 8 stories narrated by the late, great George Carlin. And here's another DVD copy of the Best of Thomas. This one I got in 2009, and this is the 2009 Lionsgate reprint of this. But the disc is the original 2001 disc inside. And then Best of James, believe it or not, Best of James was actually the very first Thomas DVD that I ever got back in 2003. And this also contains 8 stories narrated by George Carlin. And then we have Salty's Secret, the first DVD released to contain season 6 episodes, narrated by Alec Baldwin. And it's the last release to contain the Ghislaine logo on the packaging, before they changed it to Hit Entertainment. And then Percy's Chocolate Crunch. This is the next release to contain Season 6 episodes, right after Salty's Secret. And, as you can tell, this is the 2005 DVD reprint of Percy's Chocolate Crunch, due to the fact that you see Thomas on the right of this, on the right side of the back cover, and the Hit Entertainment logo arranged perfectly at the bottom. But it has the original 2003 disc inside, so it does not list a narrator, but it is Alec Baldwin on Percy's Chocolate Crunch. Alright, James and the Red Balloon. This is the original 2003 DVD release of James and the Red Balloon, that is. With narration by Alec Baldwin. And this is the original 2003 DVD release because the Hit Entertainment logo is at the top right. It's located before the copyright notice and stuff on the packaging. And you don't see Thomas on the back cover. And this is the last release to contain the original Anchor Bay logo from 1998, before they updated it in 2003 with Thomas's Snowy Surprise. And this is the only release to contain the Hit Entertainment logo right after the Anchor Bay Entertainment logo from 1998. And then Thomas's Snowy Surprise contains 3 new episodes from Season 6, while the other 3 episodes are from the previous releases of Thomas's Christmas Wonderland. And this is a 2009 Lionsgate reprint. This time it says storytellers Alec Baldwin and George Carlin. And then we have Best of Gordon, which is the last title in the Best of line. Best of Gordon. It was originally released in October of 2003 as part of the Best of collection before it got an independent DVD release in 2004. And unlike the other Best of releases, Best of Gordon actually contains narration by Alec Baldwin alongside George Carlin. So the storyteller for Best of Gordon is George Carlin and Alec Baldwin as well. So we have Most of the stories on here are narrated by George Carlin, except for the last two, which are narrated by Alec Baldwin, because they are from season 5. And now, here's something pretty interesting. New Friends for Thomas. This is the only United States release of Thomas to contain narration from the late great UK narrator Michael Angelis. Not necessarily. I prefer mostly the classic series and seasons 8 through 11. But what's interesting is New Friends for Thomas is the only release where you can hear episodes narrated by the late great UK narrator Michael Angelis. Which contain 4 episodes from season 7 and then 2 season 6 episodes coming right after. It does not have the narrator listed on the back for some reason. Yeah, I did realize in season 12. This next release is also pretty interesting. This is Thomas and the Jet Engine. And this is the original 2004 DVD release of Thomas and the Jet Engine, to be exact. And it does not list the narrators on the back cover, but what is interesting is the first 3 episodes on there, Thomas and the Jet Engine, Percy and the Haunted Mine, and Scaredy Engines, are from season 6, and they are narrated by Alec Baldwin. But then the next 3 episodes, Harold and the Flying Horse, Bulgy Rides Again, and Salty Stormy Tale, are from season 7, and they are narrated by Michael Brandon. And what makes this a very interesting release is that this is the only time you get to see Michael Brandon credited in the Brit Allcraft Classic Series intro. Because most of the time, he is credited in the Hit Entertainment New Series intro. But this is an exception, as he is credited in the Brit Allcraft Classic Series intro instead. Pretty interesting if you ask me, huh? And what's also really interesting is that you get to hear the original music that is usually heard in the UK episodes of season 7 on Thomas and the Jet Engine with Michael Brandon's narration. Because when most of the season 7 episodes, when aired on US, were broadcasted on PBS Kids and recomposed the music. But this one contains the original music with Michael Brandon's narration. And this contains the season 6 opening credits at the beginning, compared to New Friends for Thomas, which had the season 7 opening credits with the classic series theme. And in Hooray for Thomas, this is an interesting release because this was released in 2005, and they contain all 6 episodes from Season 7, narrated by Michael Brandon, with the recomposed music from the PBS broadcasts of Thomas and Friends. But even though it uses the new series hit entertainment intro of Thomas and Friends from Season 8 at the opening credits and at the end credits, when you get from episode to episode, even though it shows the new series hit entertainment intro of Thomas and Friends from Season 8, it would still contain the classic name boards from Seasons 1 through 7 after each episode finishes off and goes to the next one. What makes this interesting is that you get to hear both the classic series and the new series theme on this DVD release together. The classic series theme is heard in the name boards and the DVD menu, and the new series theme is heard in the opening theme and the end credits. And this is the first release where Thomas is seen on the back cover, as it's released in 2005. And this is like the last release that doesn't have a byline and the Anchor Bay logo on the packaging. But what's interesting is the disc itself has the Hit Entertainment and Lionsgate logos on the disc art. But I popped it in and it contained the original 2005 DVD mastering. Interestingly enough is this DVD has the Hit Entertainment and Lionsgate logos on the disc art, but contained the Anchor Bay logo on the packaging, which is interesting to say the least. I know you're not. Maybe they just thought it was new at that time it aired on PBS. Here's Calling All Engines, a full-length special that came before Season 9. Yeah, Hooray for Thomas only features the DVD menu at the very end. Yeah. And this is the 2009 Lionsgate reprint. Believe it or not, when I popped this in, it contained updated previews, which contained the same previews as... It contained a preview for Hero of the Rails at the beginning. And then here's On Site with Thomas. This is a release to contain episodes from the Pack series. Jack Pack and the Soda Construction Company, to be exact. Unfortunately, the disc would not work when I put it in. And this was released on the same day as the DVD reissue of Thomas Percy and the Dragon. Next one is Milkshake Muddle. What makes this really interesting is that you would think it's from Anchor Bay, huh? But actually, it's not from Anchor Bay. This time, it's from 20th Century Fox, which owned films from the Family Guy and Simpsons franchise. And, And now Disney owns the rights to all those Fox films. Wow. This is the only title that I have distributed by 20th Century Fox. But there are some other titles like Carnival Capers. I do have Carnival Capers, but it's a 2009 Lionsgate reprint. And I also have... And there's Engines Escapades, which is also distributed by 20th Century Fox, which I don't have. Here's Carnival Capers, which is the 2009 Lionsgate reprint. And when I popped this disc in, it contained updated previews as well, like for Hero of the Rails, just like on Calling All Engines. Next up, we have Ultimate Christmas, which is a compilation of Thomas's Christmas Wonderland and Thomas's Snowy Surprise, all packed up on one video. And this is a 2009 Lionsgate reprint of Ultimate Christmas. And the disc itself is the original Anchor Bay disc. It contains the name board sequences as well. This next one is missing the front cover, but this is Mud Glorious Mud. And it's the Lionsgate reprint from 2009. Interestingly, this contains mixed episodes. There is an episode from season 6 at the start, narrated by Alec Baldwin, called Edward, the Really Useful Engine, which is also on James and the Red Balloon. And then there is Thomas and the Avalanche from season 7, otherwise known as Not So Hasty Cakes, with the recomposed music. And then there is Missing Freight Cars, which is the only episode on this DVD to be from the PBS hit entertainment era of Thomas and Friends. And then Mud Glorious Mud is from the Pack series. And then we have a Friend in Need, which is not the Michael Angeles version this time. It's the Alec Baldwin version this time on here. And then Edward, Trevor, and the Really Useful Party, which is from season 3, with narration by George Carlin from the Thomas Gets Bumped release. And it contains the new series, or the hit entertainment era theme at the very beginning and the end, after the engine roll call. And here is the Birthday Express, a 2011 DVD release containing 4 episodes, 2 of them from season 13 and 2 of them from season 12. Double Trouble, or Percy and the Bandstand, Double Trouble, the season 13 version, and then The Man in the Hills and The Party Surprise. And the last one, Merry Christmas, Thomas. Which contains all this time contains 4 episodes from the CGI era. To be honest, I have very few CGI era Thomas releases. Most of them I have are from the classic series or Brit Allcraft era. And that's all the Thomas releases. Okay. I had to get all that stuff cleaned up here real quick, so. So the news is, I have found a new cord for, I have gotten a new cord for that camera, which means SML Fan-Made will be back up and running new episodes soon. Okay, so I thought I might like to tell you a little story about my hunt for a certain Disney VHS release of Pocahontas. Yeah, that is. Yeah, that is true. But it may take a week or two for me to get back to doing the Google Photos dialogues, so I'll let you know when I'll do it. It may be a couple of weeks, so. Back in, 2005, I got a first copy of Pocahontas. And it was my childhood copy. And that had the Walt Disney Masterpiece Collection logo at the beginning after the feature presentation screen. And then in 2014, I got and my childhood copy was printed January 15th of 1996. And then in 2014, I got another copy, which was printed January 4th of 1996, and that also had the Walt Disney Masterpiece Collection logo at the beginning. I heard that early copies had the Walt Disney Classics logo at the beginning, and when I saw a video of that, when the Walt Disney Classics logo appeared on a certain video, I was like, I gotta go get that someday. And then in 2015, when I was at Goodwill, I started looking for copies with the Walt Disney Classics logo because I knew that there were copies printed in December of 1995 that had that logo. I got one printed December 28th of 1995. I popped that in, and it still had the Walt Disney Masterpiece Collection logo at the beginning. And then I got a copy printed December 26th of 1995, popped it in, and it still had the Walt Disney Masterpiece Collection logo. And then I did some more research and found that the copies printed before December 18th of 1995 had the Walt Disney Classics logo. Then I ordered one from eBay with a copy printed December 17th, 1995. And guess what? I popped it in, and the copy printed December 17th of 1995, it still had the Walt Disney Masterpiece Collection logo on it. The copy printed December 17th of 1995 still featured the Walt Disney Masterpiece Collection logo. And I was like, and then I asked multiple sellers on eBay if they had one with the Walt Disney Classics logo on there. And then, luckily, one seller had a copy with the Walt Disney Classics logo, and he took a picture of that logo on that tape, and the print date was December 14th of 1995. So once I saw the pictures of the Walt Disney Classics logo on that tape, that's when I bought it. And it was this copy right here that the seller gave me that featured the Classics logo. Because you thought, and I got it. And it was printed on December 14th of 1995. Yeah, I just saw them earlier, before you told me about them. And I looked at the print date. It was December 14th of 1995. I popped it in, and guess what? It finally featured the Walt Disney Classics logo. No, I didn't get any of them. I didn't get any more of them yet, so. Wow. Because I remember doing the opening to this copy of Pocahontas, printed on December 14th of 1995, and that actually featured the Walt Disney Classics logo. There actually are copies with the Walt Disney Classics logo that are very rare to find, and this is one of them. The other copies I have the Masterpiece Collection logo, but this one has the Classics logo. Okay, that wraps up for the Q&A. I will see you guys tomorrow for a collection of my Clifford collection. Okay, I will see you guys later.